All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hello, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Dishing Tea with Big Meech. I am glad that you're out there listening to us in Blog Talk Radio Land, and for those of you who are listening by phone at 347-205-9183, I welcome you all. Thank you for your love and your support. Today's topic is going to be one of those topics. This is going to be the first of many of any kind of just frank, raw, raunchy type of topics. So I'm going to put my disclaimer up now, and you'll be hearing me repeat this throughout as folks come in. Today's show, honey, I have to put a very strong warning on this. This is the viewer or the listener discretion is advised. Today's show is going to talk about gay sex, and we're going to talk about it in its strong, frank language that I'm not going to hold any punches back. And the language that we're going to be using can and will offend some folk, and the topic may not be for everyone's ears. So if this is something that you wish not to participate in, I thank you for your support, and I will catch you next week. Otherwise, if you're staying by, then that means you're ready, and don't be surprised about what you hear, because I'll be telling a little bit of my business today, and and we just going to make it happen, okay? So once again, warning, listener advisory, your discretion is advised with this topic, because there is strong, frank, sexually explicit language going to be used on the show today. This is not anything for children, so if you're listening by internet, please remove your children away from the computer or put your headphones on, because we're going to get raw, okay? So with saying all of that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please give us a call. The number again is 347-205-9183. Once again, 347-205-9183. The chat room is open, so you can come on in and bring about your messages or whatever. You can chat with everyone. So I'm in. But I'll be bouncing back and forth, so you guys have a good time in the chat room. I'm going to come in and say hello and this, that, and the other in just a few moments, okay? We have a wonderful show today. I call this, I love it when you call me Big Poppa. Today's show is going to be featuring the big boy community in a way that probably it has not been discussed on any kind of mainstream. My guest today is the owner and founder of one of the social groups on Yahoo called Keeping It Big. It is a social group that's dedicated to the world of the man of size, and they host a lot of different social functions across the country that will become adult-friendly play for the man of size. I'm going to give you just a brief background on him. His name is Lowe Thomas. He's a 33-year-old African-American male, a Chicago native that is currently living in Indianapolis, Indiana. At the age of 20, he came out, and he had been jet-setting across the country, living his life as an openly gay man of size. During those experiences, and at one point topping the scales himself at 486 pounds, he saw the deficiency in the big boy community and its lack of acceptance in the mainstream gay culture. So because of this, in 2004, Black Men That Love Black Men, now known as Keeping It Big, was born. As the founder and owner of Keeping It Big, he has hosted many social events across the country, particularly around the Black Gay Pride seasons. And during his daytime hours, he holds a BA in psychology and works in the clinical psychology arena. Without any further ado, I want you to put your hands together and welcome to my show. This is Lowe. Hey, baby, what's going on?
Hey, darling, how are you? Thank you for the gorgeous introduction.
Well, thank you, baby. I am everything, and everything is me.
That you are.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, baby. So we're going to keep things moving right along. I want you to get right down and dirty with me, and we're just going to be like we always are. But for starters,
right down and dirty.
Okay, I know. Well, okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about that in a minute because I almost went there. I was about to flame. Well, let's get things rolling. First off, tell us about Keeping It Big. What is it, and what is its purpose?
Keeping It Big is a Yahoo adult social group that was created in 2004 to fill the need, as you said, of the big boy community within the gay community that I actually saw being in the party scene in D.C. And it was created so that I could help assist big guys or men of real size, what I call them, feel the confidence to know that they are just as important as the mainstream gay community and find their own niche within that community and be proud of who they are in their own skin and their own size. So that's what Keeping It Big is all about.
Okay. So you started this exclusively on Yahoo. How many members does the group have?
Yeah, we started exclusively on Yahoo in 2004. It came about using the Internet because I was trying to find the largest arena to reach the mass audience of big guys in the community, and the Internet was the best way to go. And we started with the Yahoo group, and it has a total number of members. We just accepted 3 new members as of yesterday, so the number is at I think the last count was 758.
Okay.
758 members.
Wow. All right, for 758. Okay, that's a cute lottery number right there. Anyway. Well, okay, so now, with it being a Yahoo group, explain to the audience exactly the type of socializing that this does. Is it just a chat group or what? Explain that.
Well, we are actually all-encompassing Yahoo group. We have chat. We do weekly discussions and topics that actually are compassionate to both the big boy community and the gay community. Topics such as relationships, building your own confidence within your own self-esteem, motivating yourself to do better in your own world, things like that. We have topics of sexuality, how to be comfortable as a big guy in the skinny guy gay community. We do host meet and greets, and we have hosted meet and greets around, as you said, the seasons of Black Pride and overall Pride in other cities, and also our main draw to our biggest draw to our community and our group is our adult sex parties geared towards big men and those that love them.
All right. You said that's the biggest draw, is the adult sex party.
That is the biggest draw, and I can tell you this: we did a poll when we created what we were going to do for the socialization part of the group, and the overwhelming response was that the group members at that time, at that particular time when the group was created in 2004, the group, we came about with the sex parties being the lead at about 175 members, and that out of those 175 members, the overwhelming response was to have sex parties. However,
really?
if I could respond on that just a little bit, when people in mainstream America or the gay community hear sex parties, they have a very blank understanding of what it is, and they have a I don't understand or I don't know idea of what we actually do. Mm-hmm. And Keeping It Big exceeds what expectations are when it comes to sex party. The reason we call it a sex party is because we do party among the sex that happens at the party. So we do it. However, the thing that I think that separates us from other sex parties, or actually the idea of a sex party for most gay men, is one of horror because they're not sure what they're to expect. And so what we try to do at our sex parties is make sure that you're very comfortable in your own skin, very comfortable when you come in. You come into an ambiance. You come into an environment that's safe, clean, and serene. And the sex happens behind closed doors. So the partying is the cocktails, the conversation, the networking actually happens at sex parties. For our group, we network a lot at our sex parties. We've met many of our group members that have many resources that the group is going to use, and I think we'll talk about that later for the future of KIB. But so that's one of the things that's our biggest draw is our sex parties, and it's actually used as a metaphor to help build the confidence in big guys that may lack the confidence to know that even at your size, whatever size it may be, there's some guy out there that loves your body for the way it looks.
Interesting. Now, see, let me go here, because one of the things that we as men particularly always have a problem with is that men only are drawn to sex, that we only think with our dicks, that we have no control over ourselves when it comes to sexuality. And then on top of that, being gay men, mainstream society seems to think that that's all that we think about. and that's all that we do is to live in a place of lasciviousness and want to, just, always slobbing on somebody's dick or something. Why is it that the sex parties have become the biggest draw? Was that because it was, is it capitalizing on that same kind of thought that boys would be boys, or what do you think was the reason that was the catalyst?
I think the reason for the catalyst, it doesn't, in my opinion, and speaking for my group and what we do at our parties, it doesn't capitalize on that behavior of the lascivious behavior, and that this mainstream society looks at gay men as these sexual predators or hounds. However, at our parties, when we found out through our own research, is that it came about because it cuts out the middle mess and the shit from the club scene. Let's be honest about this situation. When we all go out to the bars, in the gay bar, any club, we're going out for either one of two reasons: to go have a good time with your friends, or to get laid. And in order to get laid for some of us, and actually most of us, we got to spend extra money to enhance the way we look, to dress, or to appeal to the other person, or even buy the other person cocktails. And now cocktails are not that cheap anymore. You're looking at an average of being in a bar for 4 hours. You're averaging spending about $50 to $100 a night. And so, and if you look at it logically, why spend $50 to $100 a night to bust a nut when you can spend it at $10 to $15 a night at a party that caters to people that like the way you look, as opposed to taking the chances in the club and for the hit and miss?
Well, all right. Okay. Okay. Okay, all right. Well, educate me on that, because I like how that sounded. But I want to go here, because though the parties are capitalized, well, not so much capitalized, but are centered for the man of real size, and are centered and geared towards those and people who love a man of real size. Let's go here, because, see, within that, I'm going to put my business out there. I've attended one of your parties, and I've attended several back home in Detroit. And one of the things that I see has to be a problem within our community is the internalized stereotypes that we have, and the internalized phobias and hatred that we have. Because now that the big boy community has defined itself as a community within the LGBT world, we still sit up there. Now we've broken it down into different classifications of bigness. Okay. Do you feel that that's a problem at the parties?
I do feel that it has presented a problem at parties. It really has, honestly. And one of the things that we have tried to do with addressing that problem is using the group as a platform to research what our group members and what our party guests exactly are looking for when they come to the party. And I think one of the things that happens, and I've actually seen this, is that when guys come to a sex party, they actually come in with the expectation they're going to get or have the piece of trade that they would like to pay for on the street, or the piece of trade that they see on the street that may be down low. That is not the case all the time. And if you go to the point of the definition of what you're coming to, it's a sex party. How about enjoying yourself sexually and allowing your sexuality to be explored in ways that you may not have it happen before? One of the things that we have seen is that, especially in the big boy community, is that it's a very negative thing to be seen sexually with another man of real size. In other words, if you're 300 pounds, you don't want to be with someone that's 300 pounds. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem because actually being 300 pounds and being with someone 300 pounds could be a great freaking nut.
Well,
as opposed to being with someone that's 300 pounds and 150 pounds that can't take dick and want to be hurt all the time because you pounded too hard. So it's a give and take in the situation.
Well, speaking from a person who is over 300 pounds with a lot of love to give, okay. I mean, being serious about it, because I know the type of person that I am, and I know what I want and what I expect in a sexual relationship or a sexual encounter. And I know I'm good at what I do. Now, I may not have my best days at all the time, but honey, even on my bad day, honey, you get a good nut. But But one of the things that I'm seeing, let's talk more about the stereotypes. Why do we feel as a big boy community that we have become the oppressor in some ways. We've been oppressed for so long to now we've become the oppressor because you got thick versus stocky versus husky versus chub versus super chub versus football versus bear. Why do we feel that we have to now define what bigness is? We just like big, right? Or am I wrong?
No, I think you're very right. I think you're on point. And I think what happens is that in the LGBT community and breaking it down to the different communities, sub-communities, actually, the bear community, as you said, the chub community, super chub, even the big boy community has been broken down into subcategories. And I feel that the reason that has happened because it's conditioned within the LGBT community. You know, and I'll give you an example. At one point years ago, you were a drag queen, just was a drag queen. Now you're either a drag queen, transgendered, or something else. Mm-hmm. So I think that in the stereotypes of the big boy community, we create our own stereotypes, and we become our own worst enemies. I've many times have been involved in a situation where I've been in the club scene or somewhere where there's other big gay men, and you're looked upon as, you're prejudged actually for what they think you are because you're a big guy, as opposed to embracing another big guy. Mm-hmm, and I think that's the problem. That's where the problem comes in creating the stereotypes. So I think we perpetuate what we put out there is perpetuated by our own shit.
Say that.
In other words, if we hating on each other as being big, if you're a super chub, over 500 pounds, and I'm a thick guy, I have no reason to hate on you for your size. I should embrace that. Because if you embrace that, and that's seen within the LGBT community, we become a stronger advocacy within our own subcategory of the LGBT community. However, what tends to happen, and it happens actually, and you probably can witness this yourself during the club scene, whenever you're in a big club, in a club scene with other big guys, it seems like that you're in the Shark Tank. And everyone else is a predator. And you're just trying to swim out. And it shouldn't be like that. And I think that if we start to change the way we view ourselves, which is why keeping it big exists, in my opinion, it to me is a problem with our own confidence. If you're not confident in your size as a super chub, thick, husky, what have you, then you have to try to tear down someone else. That's logic.
Okay.
And tearing down that person, you try to make yourself feel more confident, and it's not about that.
Okay. All right. And I have to agree with that. Because being in those type of surroundings, it seems as though everyone starts to fight for superiority on size or whatever. And, you know, it becomes this whole, I guess a notion, if you will, or some kind of movement, because, I mean, it's crazy. I've gone to clubs where it was big boy featured. You know, this is a big boy night and carried on. And when you walk in there, damn it, every motherfucker up in there is looking all crazy and shit because they try to see who's going to be the big dog. And then as they sitting up there looking at who is smaller than the other one, because then we looking to see who the chasers are and this, that, and other. I like how you put that, a Shark Tank. Because everybody is the shark looking to get the little piece of fish that's going to come up in there. Or the little piece of food. And it feels ridiculously embarrassing. It feels crazy. Completely. Then, of course, not only to deal with the whole issue of big versus thick versus this versus that, then you still got to contend with who's masculine, who's feminine, who's top, bottom, versatile. You know, and this, that, and the other, and all of that under this umbrella term, and here we go, preference. Yeah. You know I have a hard time with that one. You know I have a real hard time with that one because I believe wholeheartedly, and somebody's going to have to prove me wrong before I get off this soapbox, I believe wholeheartedly that we hide our prejudices under the umbrella term of preference. Because I've heard I like what I like and this, that, and the other, but I believe that a lot of folks don't realize or understand the total term of preference versus exclusivity. What are your thoughts on that, and how does keeping it big deal with that? If you do.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
the whole art, the art of the umbrella term preference, and one hiding their prejudice under the umbrella term of preference. Does Keeping It Big ever deal with that, or has you, as the owner and the moderator of the group, have had to deal with that as a topic, or had to deal with that within discussions or whatever at any of your functions?
We've actually had that be one of the branches of our group discussions and weekly questions. And it always generates a lot of discussion because guys do look at preference as exclusivity and actually not understanding it as being exclusive, because you don't know your preference if you haven't tried it.
Right.
So how can you have a preference for, say, I only want, what you often hear in the big boy community, actually, let's be honest, is that especially if you're over 250 pounds, I only want a chaser. Well, you have to ask the question, what's a chaser?
Exactly.
Because where it gets messy at is that chasers, regularly known as chasers, are also the twinks or the skinny kids or someone under 200 pounds. Well, in reality, in the big boy community, there are big boy or chasers that weigh over 250 pounds.
Exactly.
They weigh 300 pounds. They like bigger guys as well. So when
exactly.
And I think one thing that we talked about in the group one discussion was actually defining the terms that we use to state our preferences.
Okay. Well, is it fair that... Go ahead. Finish. No, go ahead and finish.
Especially with the whole terminology and subcategories in the big boy community of super chub and thick. Well, what is that defined as? Because if you define yourself as a thick guy and you weigh, let's say, 260 as I do now, then, and I can tell you this, there's already prejudice within the big boy community. Because at 486 pounds when I was a super chub, now that I'm considered thick, I'm frowned upon in the super chub community. Even
because you lost the weight.
Exactly.
Right, because you lost the weight. Right.
Yes. So it looks like that we go back to that, we kill our own confidence by even doubting ourselves. I still have love for my super chubs. Hell, I was one. I know what it's like to walk in those shoes.
Right.
So why shun me because I lost the weight? And I have been shunned at some, honestly. And you know this, me personally, I try to be at every national big boy event there is, and every Black Pride big boy event there is. And I can tell you, I've been told in my face, I don't like you anymore because you lost weight.
Because you lost weight. How about that?
Now, I want the audience to think about this before you go on. Hear what I just said. I don't like you because you lost weight. If I didn't have the confidence I have, think about the person that never had the confidence as a big person.
And who never lost the weight. Exactly.
And who never lost the weight. And what does that do to them in our own community? We're killing our own community in the big boy community. But go ahead.
Exactly. Now, because we were talking about the sex parties, what is Keeping It Big's responsibility with HIV and AIDS and a lot of the STIs, sexually transmitted infections, that go on? Because I know, that's a very important piece when we're dealing with health and especially with a man of size.
Yes. Well, the Keeping It Big, what we do at our parties, we promote nothing but safe sex. And I say this with the disclaimer: we promote it. We provide all size condoms, from your Trojans to your Magnums. We provide plenty of lube, moist towelettes, and towels. So there's ample reason to have safe sex. And when I tell people, because I've been accused personally and persecuted for hosting sex parties and saying that I've spread the HIV virus by doing so. And to those distractions, I say, when you have group parties or you're in the bathhouse, it does nothing but the same thing. We're just providing you with a better space and a cleaner space. However, if two consenting adults decide at any point in time, outside of a sex party or at a sex party, to have unprotected sex, we cannot patrol that.
Okay.
But we provide every entity, including dental dams, including flavored condoms, if you want to use a condom when you're having oral sex or sucking a dick. So there's no excuse for you not to have safe sex at one of our parties.
Well, all righty then.
And we just could use that discussion in the group as well. We often ask members of the group. We actually had a recent conversation within the group about dating someone with a sexually transmitted disease or someone with HIV, and what would that look like and how would that be, and would you be willing to do so? And so what we found out within our group, that a lot of our group members have the compassion to know this disease and this illness, HIV, has sometimes taken over our community, and we should not shun them. Because I tell people the truth, when anyone who's affected with HIV, you don't know unless they disclose to you.
Exactly.
So it's really like you walking through the dark.
Right, right.
You know.
Well, my philosophy has always been at these particular parties, if you choose to go, everyone got it until proven otherwise, and ain't nobody talking about it, okay? So I had to do what I had to do to protect me.
And
okay.
That's what we try to make sure you have every entity you need, every supply you need to make sure we keep everything replenished. We've never run out of anything, so we.
Okay, and you have ample showers. I got to put that there because I'm one who likes to clean. I have to put that, baby. Now, come on now. You know this is some real tea here because, you know, there are those who are the favorites of these particular parties, and they know they need to go and wash off Joe before they come fuck around with Clarence. Okay, now you know this, okay, in order to keep everything fresh and moving along. Now, for those of you out there who don't understand how sex parties operate, it's more than just a big orgy fuck session. This is, you know, it has a movement to it. Definitely. But you also know the popular people who are there who think that they are God's gift to everything that moves. And in order to keep things fresh and wonderful and lovely, because a lot of us want to put our mouths on every orifice that has space for my mouth to go, I prefer to keep everything clean. So as long as showers are available, I bring my own accoutrements with me, and we can get it together. So
and I'm glad you said that because we do one of our largest parties events is actually Atlanta's Black Pride, where we boast a 2-floor penthouse suite with 2 bathrooms. So you have ample shower space, ample bathroom opportunity, and we do have soaps and things like that if you need to use them. And again, we provide towels. So, you know, there's no reason not to be clean. And
okay.
If you have that problem where you're coming from the club scene, and we've had this actually. We've been really happy to support anyone that was coming to our party to support us, and we have had someone, you know, guys have come in from work or what have you and need to take a shower, and we provide them that space and that safety and that privacy. So, yeah, I totally agree.
Okay. Well, let me interject here. Hello to all of those who are tuning in. I'm going to have to give you a warning. This is a listener's advisory because the language can and will get a little frank. Very strong sexually explicit language on today's show. So if you're not down with that, I do thank you for your support, and we'll catch you next week. If you are, then just be ready to rock and roll with us. We are talking about, I love it when they call me Big Poppa, keeping it big, the Yahoo social group that caters to the men of size in our LGBT community. You're listening to the owner and the moderator of it. This is Lowe Thomas, who happens to be a special friend of mine, and we're just going to get right down and dirty with it. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, the number is 347-205-9183. If you're already on the line and wish to ask a question, just press number 1, and I will get you on my call screen, and we will let you come in and ask, excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied here, ask your questions or say your comments. Briefly, please. You know, we only have an hour show. Hold on. I do have a caller here. I'm going to go to the one caller that we have that's willing to ask a question before we go further. Hi, caller. This is 313-615. You're on the air. Hey, how you doing? You're dishing tea with Big Meech. Hello, caller.
Hello. Yes.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you
today? Pretty good.
Doing well, baby. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
Yes, I have a question. Actually, it's in 2 parts. I was wondering how much it costs to attend one of these events. I know you were talking about $50 to $100 going out to clubs, and I was just wondering what the cost was for your event. And also, is there a certain size requirement? Is there such thing as too small to attend your event or too big?
Good question.
It's a great question, actually. And thank you for calling in. Thank you. The cost for our KIB event is actually based on overhead for the hotels we use, and we never go higher than $20. So it can range from $10 to $20, depending on what city we're in, what event we're doing, and what hotel we're using. And there is no limit on size. We have a non-discretionary door. So if you are 600 pounds, say, or you're 90 pounds, and our only thing is you have to love and understand we're promoting the wellness and health of big men, those that love them. So if you're a big man loving person, or a big skinny guy that loves big guys, or vice versa, come on in, and that's how we feel. And we hope to make you feel welcome.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, caller. We're going to go now to 704-907. Hello, you're on the air with Big Meat. You're dishing tea, baby. What's up?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, you guys can hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well. What's going on?
Good. My question is this. I'm a big guy, big and tall guy, actually. My name is Joe. I'm from North Carolina.
Hey.
And I've been talking to another big guy. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this question.
Just shoot it from the hip, boo.
Shooting from the hip. Both of us are really big, okay? And it's like making out and having sex. How do you kind of maneuver that? I've gone through a journey myself of getting comfortable with myself to where I didn't date guys my size or bigger because I didn't feel good about myself. So I tried to date the pretty boys, the skinny boys, whatever. And I met this guy who's, as a man, he's primo. He's a very good catch. Yeah, he's a very good catch. And I just wonder about that because I've only, the size that I am, I've only gotten like this recently, probably in the past couple of years. I've only been this big. I'm at 286 now. So my question is that, is there that much of a difference or?
Okay. Well, Lowe, do you want to take that? Wait a minute. Before you do, let me ask him this question. How tall are you, baby?
I'm 6'4".
You're 6'4" and 2 what?
286.
Okay.
Actually,
go ahead, Lowe.
Can I interject one moment? And that's one thing that we didn't touch on, Nietzsche, but I really appreciate you calling in. Thank you for that. I think another thing is, I'm going to ask you a question in 2 parts. First of all, I think that we have a disillusion of what big is. And when we talk about the big boy community, we all see ourselves as a different size. Your height and your weight, actually, you're not considered, in the big boy community, this is definitely what we talked about earlier, you're not considered really, really big. You're actually probably proportionate for your height. However, when it comes to your sexual play, I can tell you this. Oral sex is great. Implement toys if need be, and actually find creative ways to please yourself and him. And you also, it's give and take in the relationship when it comes to sex. There are a lot of creative ways to have great sex with another guy of your size or larger. And I think you have to explore your bodies, and both of you have to be comfortable with your bodies enough to explore every option that there is out there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because like I said, I've only gained this weight in the past few years, and my lesbian friends, a lot of them are heavier, but as far as my guy friends are, most of my guy friends are slim. The guys that I hang around with. So it's like I go in and I'm most of the time always the tallest and the biggest one. Therefore, I would consider myself a big guy.
And I can tell you this, one of the things that I did in my 20s when I was at 480-something pounds is I had a crew, and we were called the whole crew in the D.C. club scene, and we were all over 300 pounds. And we were a force we reckoned with. And the reason we were so forceful was because it was a group of big guys. And you rarely, in the situation that you're in with your friends, that everyone's smaller than you and you're the tallest and, in your opinion, the biggest, you tend to stick out. My suggestion with that is group yourself with some big guys and find that power within that big boy community, because know this, you guys will go in and wreck the place. When you come into any situation you come into with a group of other big guys, you are going to steal the show. Because you have a presence. You have a presence. And you should always embrace the presence that you possess.
Yeah, and I'm tried, in my city to kind of get more like a club or something, a social group for bigger guys together, but in Charlotte, they don't turn out.
And if I can sponsor that a little bit.
Go ahead, baby.
In the 5 years that that I've owned Keeping It Big and created the brand of Keeping It Big, it's a very strenuous task, but it's my passion. And it gets sometimes redundant to have these events and no one shows up. However, our philosophy is if one person shows up, we're successful. And you have to really at it, and where you're from, it's very hard to probably get that out there. My suggestion, if you have not done this yet, if at any chance you get, one of the biggest places to do the big boy events that have big guys from all over the country is Atlanta's Black Pride, and they have a big boy meet and greet that's hosted by another Yahoo Group, a colleague of ours called Big Dogs. And their event is held at Bulldogs every year, and it's one of the best that I love to go to because you get to see all type of big men, and you get to see all sizes, and we all network and embrace each other. And I think that'll give you the inspiration to do it because I can tell you this, when they started, they were not as big as they have become, and they are a stellar group.
And
yeah, the Big Dogs, THABIGDOGS.com.
You can Facebook as well.
Oh, I'm check that out. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to interject here just a little bit because, see, he is my height, and he is the weight that I'm looking to get to because I'm at 418. Okay? So, baby, if you're still listening, trust me truly when I tell you it can and will be done. One of the things you're going to have to do, though, is understand what you can and cannot do with your body because I think that's one of the things that we tend to forget about. Men of size have to remember we have some limitations, and if you're anything like me, see, when I was 17 and was the 34 ways to carrying on, I can't do what I did then now.
Because you can't put your legs over somebody's shoulders and breathe at the same time no more.
And breathe at the same time, okay? But I okay. And then I'm asthmatic on top of it. Shut up. Okay. Right, I've been sitting up here to half breathe and can't, Lord Jesus. Okay, but I have learned how to maneuver that and learn how to get around all of those and learn shortcuts and learn some tricks to the trade or whatever in order to make sure that I have an enjoyable night.
Don't be ashamed to move your stomach out the way, baby.
Hello, is there shit? And if you touch it right, sugar, hey.
Hey, you might get a whole other opinion.
A whole other experience, honey. Shit, okay. Right. I got a couple more callers. I'm going to go here first because they had their hand up first. This is 201-923. Hey, baby, you on with Big Meech? Come on, dish your tea. Hello? Caller? 201-923, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Hey.
Hey, my name is Derek. I reside in the New Jersey area.
Lord have mercy. What's up, baby?
I'm really enjoying the conversation. Shout out to Meech and Lowe. I'm enjoying it very much so.
Thank you.
I just have a quick comment. When I go out, I'm very confident, and guys usually are afraid to approach me. So what can I do about that?
Well, I can honestly say I've had the same problem. I'm been accused of being arrogant and being confident. And what I've learned in my experience personally is this. You have to look at it from this perspective if you're going to continue to be as confident as you are. And I know you personally, I think you're a great person. And I think the challenge is for others to realize without a conversation, you don't know how great a person is.
Exactly.
That's one of the biggest problems within the big boy community. We come into these functions and we look at each other as, oh, he thinks she's the shit or she thinks she's the shit because you're confident. How about having a conversation with me and actually get to know if I am the shit? Because I may not think I'm the shit. I may just be a good person at heart and have the confidence to share and help you build the confidence to embrace who you are as I have myself.
All right. That's enough said. I did on that one.
Enough said. Very well. And I would like to say about the previous caller, a lot of guys of certain size and stature, you shouldn't be afraid to try new and different things. He can also try dance classes. There's ways you can move, and he is Not big at all.
Lord, no, I don't think so.
Not at all. But y'all doing that, so that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks, baby, for your call. Derek on the line. Go on, head on, baby.
It's sexy stuff.
Oh, Lord have mercy. This is just too fun. I'm having a good time with this. I'm coming back. I got one more call that got his hand up. I'm going to let him come in and get his question, and then I'm going to filter in some more questions at you because I want to get into the business side and also you establishing your brand. But before I go there, 423-635. You're on the air. You're dishing tea with Big Meech. Hello, caller.
Hello, this is Red, and
hey.
I'm enjoying the conversation, but I wanted Lowe's opinion on why there seems to be such almost I want to say a prejudice against people of size who like people who are smaller. I've run into that a lot. Now, it seems to me I'm 6'3" and like 245, which, according to what you all are saying, really isn't that big, but to me it's big. And but generally I like smaller people, but have been vilified because of that. Now, what's your
Well, personally, I think personally, I think
that's what I was asking Lowe.
Right. I will get on that later.
Personally, I think you've been vilified because those that are attracted to you, you're not attracted to them. So it's that I got to put you down for what you like or what your preference is because I can't have you. And I also feel that if you have your preference of liking skinnier men, actually smaller guys than you, there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's actually what people actually believe the big boy community was created for. And what has changed over the years is the ebb and flow that big guys do tend to lean towards smaller men. However, within the big boy community, a lot of the movement has been for big boys to embrace each other. And so that's probably what you're bumping up against and have the hate come towards you with that. But I personally don't think anything wrong with the way that you actually have the people you're attracted to. I say go for it.
Well, see, and that has been, I mean, actually, to be honest, I don't settle on one type. Like, I've dated skinny men, I've dated big men, I've dated men right in the middle, my size. It depends on what I'm attracted to at that moment in time.
Right.
But I've just noticed a lot that, you know, if there are guys who are bigger than me that like smaller guys or like medium-sized guys, part of it may be because they feel like, you know, the caller before was saying, you know, the two big guys, how do you have sex, how do you make love, so forth and so on. So maybe they feel it's easier with someone that's a little smaller. I mean, I just think that if you look for the personality and you look for, you know, what really gets to you, not just on the surface, then it seems like you'll be okay.
I totally agree with that. I do think that one thing that we did not touch on is that when you get in the big boy community, I think a lot of the stigma is, as I can get cheeky, my dick isn't big enough to fuck someone that's my size or larger. When it's more times, often not about always penetration. Sexual fulfillment can be done with outside of penetration. I mean, penetration is great. However, I think it is a stigma and a misconception that if my dick is maybe, let's just put size it to 6 inches, and the dude I'm trying to have or be with is a little bit larger than me and I can't actually get in, the fact is you can still get in. It's the angle you go to get in. And I think that's what Leap says, is learning what your body is capable of able of doing. But I do agree with you that a lot of big guys do tend to lean towards smaller guys from a sexual standpoint because they feel they can actually have more enjoyable sex. And I can honestly say that I've seen at my parties big guys enjoy themselves with each other, at being about the same size, 300 pounds or a little heavier, enjoying themselves sexually. And it's about the angles that they enjoy themselves at.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, all right. Thank you, caller, for that wonderful, wonderful comment and question. I'm going to put him back down here so he can finish listening to the show. Let's get into that.
Sure.
Because I've seen this happen on a lot of different occasions, and you hit on something as far as the attraction level. A big guy looking at someone who they see to be a little smaller than them, or big guys attracted to other big guys, and then they get shunned.
Yeah.
And I've seen the harshness of folks getting cussed out. When you just wrong and you don't like you don't know what you're missing out on, and you just prejudiced and this, that, and the other, blah 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 blah. And a lot of that comes to masking pain of the rejection.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that we as big men or the man of real size face that a lot and end up internalizing that too much, or what? Because again, I see it as the oppressed becoming the oppressor now that we have this community of ours.
Yeah, I totally agree on both ends. I do think, and I've actually seen this, that within the big word community, some of us have allowed the rejection to cripple us. And I tell people all the time when I'm talking to other big guys in my group and when I meet them personally and they ask questions of me, rejection is only that. It's rejection. You cannot and you should not make rejection about you. What tends to happen that causes us to have rejection cripple us, rejection is just that. It's rejection. It doesn't have anything to do with you. We have to start thinking about rejection as this, in my opinion. If you don't care for me or if you reject me for whatever reason, it's not about me. You've lost out on a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've lost out on being able to suck a great big fat titty and a large nipple.
Say that.
You lost out on having the cushion.
That made me slightly moist, Tony. Stop. Okay, go ahead.
You missed out on having the cushion and the feel of a big man who's soft, who's comfortable, who is there for you. You missed out on that. And I think as big guys, we have to start having rejection stay where it's at, and that's in that lane. And what I used to tell my crew when I hung out in D.C. with them was that if he didn't like you, trust me, there's somebody in this club that will. Just leave him and go to the next person, because eventually someone's going to say yes, and that's who you get your life with.
That's true. Now, see, here we go with the eventually somebody will say yes, because here's the self-esteem portion. What does keeping it big do to advocate a higher self-esteem? Because a lot of big boys end up settling for, just any old thing because they did say yes and felt as though they couldn't get someone like the last caller or whatever, because the last caller in someone else's house with the cat's meow, and the bag of chips and the diet soda and carrying on. But because they said no, then I end up settling for, the crumbs at the bottom of the barbecue chip bag because this one said yes. You know what I'm saying? So how do you, and I'm asking that because you have your BA in psychology, and I know you use that with your networking skills. So how do you, as the owner of the group, take your professional skills and blend it over into this to keep the esteem of the group high?
And that's a good question. Actually, what I use in my education, my clinical background, is that I apply those educational and those clinical questions actually in my head and resources I've garnered into questions and weekly discussions for the group. And that's where they're driven from. And it's done on a platform where anyone can answer the question, and we provide feedback. And the feedback is given from various group members who have various different experiences. And the belief and the clinical research has shown, it's pretty much a group therapy session. And you know this from yourself and having conversations within the group. We have done a great job, if I can say so, and pat the members of Keeping It Big on the back, of supporting each other and getting each other through whatever we're going through. We have a great support system within the Keeping It Big group. And I think one of the ways that we as Keeping It Big promote confidence and healthy self-esteem is using that platform to be a support system for those that may not have within their own backyard, but no, they have it at the Keeping It Big group. And I've always let every group member know They can contact me individually, personally, via email, or at every event that I'm at. I always look for my group members if they have any questions or anything that I could be of assistance to. And I need to say this, our moderator, since I've taken a step back from being the head moderator, our major moderator now is Romel, and who's based out of Chicago. And I have to say this to the callers. Yes, I was 486 pounds, so I know what it was to be big. I'm now 260, while our current moderator is 6'3" and 315 pounds. So we have that different philosophy, and we have different voices. And so you get a different perspective from every angle that may be an issue for your self-esteem or your confidence.
All right. Now let's talk about you building the brand name with Keeping It Big. What are you doing to build your name, and how do you set yourself out from the others? Because there's the big dogs, and there's also BMOCO, who are the headliners within the big boy community. What does Keeping It Big do to stay original and to stay on top of your game?
Well, what Keeping It Big does to stay on top of the game and creating our brand is keeping the integrity of what our philosophy is. And our philosophy is being a man of real size and where we play. And so in that philosophy, what we created was a whole brand of building self-confidence through the metaphor of having sex parties, building self-esteem with meet and greets, and making ourselves be seen when we're out at events, and being cordial and embracing. And one thing that we do personally when we're out and about in the community is give hugs and say, yes, I'm Lowe, or yes, I'm male, and please, by all means, whatever we can do, let us know. And so building the brand for Keeping It Big is actually ongoing. One thing that I created the group, I never saw it as being just a Yahoo group. We're currently working on creating a logo that will be on T-shirts and things like that. And we're working with a clothing designer that actually makes some of my clothes that will have, we'll be doing a fashion show some years down the line that will feature clothes designed by a big man for a big man.
For a big man. How about it?
One of the things that I think that we in the big boy community, and especially with clothing, is that the big misconception is with our jeans. And I can tell you, this brother that does designs of his clothes and when I create his clothes, he makes his own clothes, and he's about 370 at 6'2", and he looks great when he goes out. And that's one of the reasons that we are creating that brand. So we're actually looking to create a label for our clothing line and using him as our head designer.
All right.
Also, we're looking in the future to have a website and create a website. And one thing about Keeping It Big that I have to say again and give my props to my group members is that I try my hardest to use the internal resources of Keeping It Big. And you're an example of that. And the other guy that makes the clothes example, they're all members. And the person that I'm looking to design our website is a member of Keeping It Big, and we use those internal resources. So that's one way we try to give back and saying thank you and building the brand of Keeping It Big.
Well, all right. Now, for all intents and purposes, with the other organizations that are out there for the big boy community, is it? I know you said that you go up and say that we make ourselves available, to any big boy calls and this, that, and the other. But let's talk about a little bit of the sadness when you make yourself available and it's not often reciprocated or accepted. How then does that affect the community as a whole?
I think it affects the community as a whole when we put ourselves out there. One of the things I say is that it goes back to rejection. If you put yourself out there, you have to remember what you put out there is what you're going to get back.
Exactly.
So whatever you're putting out there, whatever you're putting out there is what you're going to get back. So in my opinion, you have to really truly know who you are in order for what you want. And I think sometimes within the LGBT community period, we put out there what we think we want or what we desire as opposed to what we actually are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so make yourself available to know that you don't know what you don't know. So if you're just putting yourself out there to be with smaller guys because you're a big guy, then you don't know what a big guy may have to offer you that can be fulfilling in your life as a whole, and vice versa.
Right. Okay, now, let's go. I want to revisit the sex parties again because I know I say this in our personal conversations, and that is the whole night of the evening, and you know those sanctimonious children that come in that just look and gawk and forget why they're there.
Yeah.
How do you get the party rolling, if you will, for those who want?
Jesus.
I mean, I understand the first timers. I understand the first timers and those who are a little skeptical. But what is it that you do? For what I call the sanctimonious hole, you there, but you want to go hide in the cubby hole or whatever because you don't want nobody to know what it is that you do, and we all here for the same thing.
You suck a dick in the
right.
bathroom?
Suck a dick in the bathroom or something. Or, behind, or done slid behind the damn door or something, and you're not in the public area or whatever. What do you do to encourage that or not encourage that? Because, some folks want to be, exclusive.
Right. Well, one thing that we do at our parties, we make sure is that, and the way that, going back to our philosophy and how I created Keeping It Big, we make sure that when you come into our parties, you're coming to an event and you're coming to an environment, and we set the tone. And I say that because at other parties that I've gone to, the hosts are not setting the tone, and I totally believe you cannot ask more of your guests than you're willing to do. So some parties that when you come to any of my parties, you will see that the host, which is myself and the co-host, are what we're asking our guests to be. I'm using a jockstrap and a T-shirt. So when we ask you to strip at the door, you're not put off by that because you're seeing we're already there. And I try to create an environment that's safe and pleasant for everyone. And the reason we use a strip door policy, especially for big boy communities, is because big boys tend to have body image issues. And so if everyone's in the same attire, T-shirt, underwear, what have you, and your flab or your titty's sticking out, then my titty's sticking out, we all on the same accord. And so
right.
Now it gets down to the sex play. What tends to happen, how we've created a way to make people feel comfortable about the sex is that, again, there's a separation between sex and the party. And
right.
people tend to drift into the sex eventually. And we provide an all-encompassing environment. If you want to come and cocktail and network, we provide that, and watch the porn that we provide, or listen to the music that's done by a DJ in D.C., which we keep fresh and new, which is actually one of the ways that we're known and separated ourselves from the parties. And the other part is that if you're a voyeur, we do not require you to do anything. If you want to go watch, baby, go watch and jack your dick in the corner, that's what you do. But all sex happens behind closed doors. And what I found out with that is it helps get away from that anxiety of someone's going to see me.
Okay, and right.
That's what happens. That's what happens. There are those that set apart or don't like to be seen or go in the bathroom sucking dick. They're scared someone's going to see them. So we do have DL men that come to our party. So we provide sex in a separate room. It's usually behind closed doors. And
with a dim light.
It's just a dim light. It's just a dim light. Yes.
Right.
So everything that you do is between the person you're doing it with, unless someone is in the room watching, and that happens in the room. It doesn't come out the room until you guys come out. So we found that actually works better to have one big open space because it takes away the anxiety.
The anxiety. All right. Well, you know what? Already we are down to the last 60 seconds of the program. And let me take this time to thank you for coming out and to giving us an insight to what Keeping It Big is all about and actually starting a dialogue for the big boy community. I want to thank all of my callers who called in, those of you who had questions and comments or concerns. I applaud you and thank you for coming in with us. Do know that we're here every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Right here at Blog Talk Radio. That's blogtalkradio.com/dishing-t. You can always call in at 347-205-9183 to listen by phone or press 1 if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. If you have any other show ideas or chats or whatever, you can always email me at dishingtwithbigmeech. That's all one word. T is spelled T-E-A. with bigmeech@gmail.com, and I would welcome you to join us there. Until next time, Lowe, thank you again, baby. I really appreciate this. This is part one. I'm going to get you back in again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Anyone can find us at keepingitbig@yahoogroups.com.
keepingitbig@yahoogroups.com. Thank you, guys. I'll talk with you soon.
For their questions. I appreciate it. Love you, darling.
All right, now, this is the after show portion of this because those who are still on the line can still hear us. Okay. All right. Yes, I hope you had a good time with that, with the live show. This is the after the show get-togethers and things. So, all right. And I seem to have lost him. Oh, okay. Then I have to tell him personally. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me.